Deadpool! What are you doing in the desert? Likely excuse. Okay, let's try this one more again. One more again. One more again. In English. Hello, everybody. This is Tawny, aka Requiem Star, on a Hunger Games map. This map was built on GorillaCraft, and it doesn't get played anymore. So I wanted to run through it to kind of just give a little tour of what we built, because it was hard work, and I'm proud of how it turned out. So I wanted to share that with everyone else. I also, before I go into going through the different parts of the map, wanted to give a little bit of background. I was new to Minecraft, of course, and I was playing it with my best friend from high school, the multi-mom, and we didn't find a lot of servers that we liked at first. We found some, but they kept changing and doing different things, so we kept finding new servers to join. And then we found this one, which we actually liked a lot, and it kind of became our new home with Minecraft. So the multi-mom was trying to build up her channel on YouTube and also trying to get more experience with the game. So she became a builder on GorillaCraft. And it was about that time that little old me got myself in some trouble by playing on the Townie server, and I found the owners of the server had a gold farm, and I found it, and I destroyed it. And I didn't know whose it was, and in all fairness, they didn't have it protected, which they most easily could have done. But little old trickster me went in and raided it and broke some stuff and got caught, and they confronted me about it, and I lied to their faces. And so the multi-mom was a builder around this time, and I had wanted to be a builder too. And they probably shouldn't have allowed me to be a builder. It probably would have saved them some headache in the long run. But against their better judgment, they let me be a builder. And then eventually I became an admin on the server. And this map is kind of a result of me being a builder and an admin and just having fun and getting a lot of talented people together, throwing a map together. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, well, first things first, we're going to tour the Palace Temple, is what I ended up calling it. This is the first thing I worked on the server. The original building was here, and it looked more like a mini skyscraper than an Egyptian building, so I kind of reshaped it. No offense to the original builder, but it just didn't fit an Egyptian map. It would have been great for like a Skylines map. And then I also did this whole courtyard that you're seeing here, including the city walls, which eventually got adapted to the wall around the whole city, and including the obelisk. I don't remember who did the towers on the walls. I don't know if that was me or not, or if they were already here. And including the statues that you're seeing around different places. The one thing I didn't really do that I can't take any credit for is the scarab in the center. I found that on a different site, and I did adjust it a bit. I did build it, but I totally took it from a different site. So I'm not taking credit for that. But it does look beautiful, and it brings the whole area together. So we're going to come down here and get some close-ups in this courtyard area. And first we're going to look at the mini sphinxes. This is one of them. I think they're adorable. They got the little beard things and their big giant noses and their headdresses and then their little rumpuses and tails. I'm really proud. I did almost all the statues on this map, and I'm really proud how they turned out, because getting little things to have lots of detail in Minecraft is hard, but I think I did a pretty good job. Here's a statue of Isis. The wings were kind of difficult, but I think they turned out really good. And then you'll see more statues up at the top as well, for like different gods' heads with different headdresses to kind of make them a little bit different, even though they're slightly similar, because they're all basically the same statue, just with different flair. So now we're going to go inside this worshipping area is what I kind of called it. Again, another statue I did. This was actually the first statue I built. The rest of them came after. And I originally made the statues all in sandstone, and one of the owners suggested I add color, so I did that. And I'm glad he suggested it, because it really brought the statues to life. So in this area you see different columns. This is one of the first areas I actually worked on once I got the outside of the building looking Egyptian, and came in here. And this was going to be the original spawning area, but it ended up being too small. So now we are going to go down into the bowels of the building. Not really the bowels. Here you'll see some beautiful shrubberies to your right. And then over here is the throne room. It's kind of plain, I know, but we weren't really sure what to put in these rooms, so I just kind of tried to make it look like people were living here, or maybe this is where they had meetings with some of their officials. So you have the thrones that we're about to look at here, and then I put the flames behind it to make it look a little bit majestic, but then you had that table we just saw as well as a place for people to gather and to converse about war and all those grand things. And then if you go down this hallway to the other side, this is the mummification area. I tried to add a little bit of gore. You'll see that there's this big stone table here with the sarcophagus on it, and the lid to the sarcophagus is on the ground. You've got a skull, and you've got little specks of blood everywhere. You know, the family that lives together, dies together, gets their fluids extracted together, and then they go down that little trough to the statue as like a sacrifice. I don't think that's how it really worked back in Egypt, but it was just an added little bit of gore that I wanted to throw in there, because I kind of enjoy a little bit of gore. Yes, I know kids were playing on these maps, but I don't think they minded too much. Kids like gore a bit too. And then we come back out here to this garden area. So this garden was built by the multi-mom. She did an amazing job. As you'll see as we go around, the back of the building has these different columns that I created on it, and she kind of took those to be the centerpiece, but gave it more dimension and more color. And I love how she did the water and the different pools, and outlined them to break up all the greens. I just think it worked out really well. Which, if you know the multi-mom, she doesn't think she's a good builder, but I think she's an excellent builder, and I think she should give herself more credit. So these are the back gardens in the temple, and the back of the temple as well, where you can see all the different details. And now we're going to go out to the actual area where you spawn into the map. Remember, I told you the temple was going to be that area, but then it ended up being too small. So I made these giant Anubis statues, which again, I know you saw some of my small statues. These are giant statues, and both options have their own difficulties, like making something big. But usually with making something big, you can throw in a lot more detail, which is what I tried to do, yet keeping it simple, because the aesthetic of Egyptian stuff was kind of simple. So I hope that conveyed through with these statues. I really enjoyed making them. We also designed the medallion around the foot, and then you have, I think, about 16 spots to spawn in around each statue, because now you see there's 2 there. And then you have the chest at the feet. And I think when we had this map running, we only had an option to spawn 10 or 20 people in. So we didn't use all the spaces, but we made the spaces the way we did so that we could keep everybody evenly spaced and no one would have an unfair advantage when spawning in. This is another item that the multi-mom built, this giant sphinx here. She did another great job on it. Building things this big is difficult to do. It did have a tail on it, but we didn't know what to really do with the tail. We didn't want all this big empty space back here to fit the tail, so we decided to cut the tail off. So it's got this nice big rumpus, but it ain't got no tail. And instead we put the city wall right back here. And then when you're playing the game, all of these walls have invisible barrier blocks so that you can't actually get out of the area. It's an island anyway, so there's only water around it, and we did that to keep a barrier going. But we had multiple barriers so that people can get outside of a map and get an unfair advantage, because the whole point is killing each other. So this is the Sphinx. I think the only thing that we did was when we were adding color. We kind of reshaped parts of the face a bit, but other than that, it's all her work. And she also worked on the inside, which we are about to see. So here we are going into the treasure room that the multi-mom made, and the door here is really wide and open. We have some things that are hard to get into or a little bit hidden, but we also wanted some things to be easy to find. That way people couldn't hide all the time. There's plenty of hiding places on this map. But she took the columns that I built on the back of the building and threw them in here, which I think ties it in with the rest of the city well. I like that Anubis you just saw. It kind of shows you how you can get detail on smaller items in the game. The mosaic in the background for the Eye of Ra is really nice. As we go through, you'll see this cart for royalty, and then this really nice boat that's just filled with treasure, and then some random sarcophaguses. And then the lighting in this room is really nice because it kind of gives you a glow, but it's also kind of creepy, and that's, well, I mean, technically what these rooms are supposed to be. So I think she did a great job. And now we're looking over this central oasis area that kind of splits into the middle of the map. When I first came to this map, this was just an empty walkway. And so we decided to put this oasis here, and one of the guys actually designed it and built it and did a good job making the winding river and the bridge that goes over. And this kind of runs through what I kind of call the mid-class area. You see the buildings on the side. Some of them are a little plain, some of them are really colorful, and they come down to the shopping area. So I think they fit really well as kind of like a mid-class area. And I built the buildings on the side, not all of them, but I built a lot of them, and we did some copying and pasting, changing of colors here and there just to break up stuff and to keep things a little bit more unique. But it's a really nice area. I like how this part turned out as well with the different options. And you'll see as we fly by, there's one of these hidden places I kind of talked about. It's also not that well hidden, but you kind of have to take the risk that going down that tunnel right there is going to be your demise. And then this is what I kind of call the high class area. You'll notice all the buildings have a lot of color. A lot of them have linens in between or above them, which make it look more rich and vibrant. There's this big giant oasis off to the side, and it overlooks pretty much everything else. And then you come down this way. This center fountain here is a top of a ziggurat made by someone who did a little bit of building named Voidable Gaming. He used to be a admin on the server, and he built this huge giant ziggurat, but we couldn't use it all, so I threw the top in and we added some color. And then we're going to go through the marketplace here to kind of get a street view. You'll see different stalls. You'll see my camel. I love my camels. They don't spit. That one's sitting, and then he's got a little friend over here we're about to see. Yeah, look at him. He's all standing up and happy. I love my camels. Did I say that before? I did, didn't I? And you'll see those throughout the map. There's some even outside the city in random locations. And then we have all the different stalls. We're going to fly in here to the port, and on the port there is this giant warehouse that you'll see. You'll have this nice walkway, and then the docks where the ships can dock. Here's a large ship. I built the ships on here. That was one of the other first things that I built besides starting on the little statues. And this is one of the big ones that carries a lot of goods to the port. Here's a little zoom by of the different warehouses, and there's a little ship as well. And then here we're at the low class area of the city, and I'm gonna zoom by this little opening in the wall here. We're not gonna go inside, but there's actually a hidden area in there too, which is built over old part of the city. But you'll see that these houses aren't as colorful. They're actually meant for like the working class, which unfortunately a lot of the working class don't get all the nice things, which they should, I think. But you know, the ones that were in these houses would have been farmers or would have been builders in the city. And here's this middle temple, which has this giant phoenix on top of it. Now, I also built the phoenix in my build world, and when we spawned him in, he didn't have his tail, but then I built the tail in here so it could kind of go around the building, as you'll see when we get to the other side, to give it kind of this magical look. And one of the other guys named him Timmy, which is not a very exciting name for such a majestic bird. I don't know what I would have named him, but it wouldn't have been Timmy. But again, he was kind of difficult to build, but a lot of fun. I learned a lot about world edit and different brush options while building him. And I kind of, as going through this map, again, kind of developed a story about why he's here and why this building kind of stands out against the others as not looking as Egyptian. So I figured that this building was built by maybe a conquering civilization, and this phoenix is the power of the Pharaoh coming to attack and save his people from the invaders who took over. So that's why you have this building that doesn't quite look Egyptian and the phoenix at the top. So here we're going into this building, which I would classify as being a little bit more Arabic. We were trying to throw in different desert cultures when we built this. The little story I had come up with was an afterthought, but I think it fits well with this building being a little different. We're going to go into this tower over here, which has a statue I don't think I built, but it kind of looks like a cow, and it always made me laugh. It's because it's such a big head and that itty-bitty waist. And then we're going to come out to the kind of courtyard between all these different towers. The tower underneath Timmy just has a spiral staircase in it that goes up to him. And we're going to go around and see into this middle tower, which this middle tower is more like a kind of catacomb section. It's got a lot of skulls on the wall down here. It's like a burial area once we get down here. And we're going to fly around underneath the back of the staircase, where we have the skull of the gray gorilla back down this tube. You can't see it that well. And then we're going to fly around to the other staircase here, and you'll see the representation for Mig, who is the other owner of the server. So there's one reason why I saved this area for last, and that's because I added something to the map afterwards. It wasn't here when we played it on the server, but it needed it because it's something that most Hunger Games maps have, but ours didn't at the time. So it is a room celebrating everyone who built on the map. And so this is what I added. It's kind of simple, I get, but I also kind of like that aesthetic with throwing in like grandiose things, like building that phoenix in the background and making sure every block was fire was kind of difficult. And then you have the fires behind everyone's heads. So these are the main builders. Now, not everyone here, or not every builder who added something to the map is represented here. But you've got some of the actual official builders and the owners and other admins who were on the server here. And this is kind of a room to commemorate that. So I hope everyone likes it who was involved. I apologize for anyone I may have missed or didn't throw in here. I know I can make this room as big as I technically wanted to, but I also, you know, as I was building it, this is how it turned out, and I liked it. So if you have any complaints, let me know, and maybe I'll change it and update the video. So that is it. We are done with the tour. You can go now. But thanks for stopping by. I plan to put out other videos on other things I started building on GorillaCraft, or did build. There was a competition we had, a roller coaster competition that I built an option for, so I plan to do that video next. And then there was also another Hunger Games map that I was doing solo that's on here that I plan to also work on and finish. So I hope if you enjoyed this, you look forward to seeing those videos soon. The Hunger Games map is still a lot of work in progress on it, so it's going to be a while before that one comes out. But it is called the Ethereal Bog, and I really like how it's turning out and the work I'm putting into it. So until then, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Bye. Say bye, Timmy. Bye, Timmy.